Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closures.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Amar, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, we are absolutely thrilled to be joined by Chris Ewing, the founder of Rev, a studio that not only builds startups with its own portfolio, but also provides external startups and the entrepreneurial ecosystems that house them the ability to standardize and scale the processes to help their early stage organizations get to funding and revenue. Their process combines team-based mentor collaboration with industry-specific commercialization roadmaps because they believe that when mentors work together and founders have a clear direction, they can scale startup success. Chris, welcome to Founders Future.
Thanks, Amar. I appreciate it.
I'm excited to dive in. I always like to
Yeah, me
start
too.
from the beginning. So take us on a little trip down memory lane to before you started Revand. What were you doing at the time? And then what was really the motivation behind starting the company?
Yeah, I was a marketing officer at a venture studio called Early Charm out of Baltimore, Maryland. My group was tasked with doing the market entry for the new companies that we would create around the technology from academic institutions. And I really enjoyed it.
Okay.
I loved working with super smart people with interesting ideas, new technology that would come into markets and disrupt, right? And I left there around September 2023 and was just really interested to do some type of a venture model of my own. And I saw some optimizations that could be made based on the model I had been working in the past 3 years.
Okay. What did
Yeah.
you see that gave you an idea to start your own thing?
Yeah, I've always really been entrepreneurial and I love meeting needs and seeing kind of an idea flourish. So the venture studio that I was with, they really valued capital efficiency. And so much so that it didn't allow VC the room to be involved. And so what I really wanted to do is develop a model that was both capital efficient but also was accelerating the growth
Mm.
enough so that VC could actually be involved. My previous organization, they were so capital efficient that they wanted to start a company and get to market in 25 grand. And that's great. That's wonderful. But it removes the ability to spend a lot of money and go fast. And so I believe that we could still be capital efficient, not that capital efficient, but still be capital efficient, get to a market quickly, and allow investors to be involved and still in a good timeline, get your money back out.
Got it. I'm not super familiar with the venture capital space. So let me try to reiterate it in my own words, and then you can correct me if I'm wrong and help me understand a little bit further. So it
Sure.
sounds like they wanted to spend as little capital as possible to go to market. That's what
Correct.
you mean by capital efficiency. But you
Correct.
found that, hey, when we do that, we're not as effective when it comes to accelerating the growth of these startups. And if we were to maybe put a little bit more skin in the game, we can have more success with these startups. Is that fairly accurate?
Yeah, more skin in the game and just allow more people to be involved, more resources.
Mm.
Because of this, it was so capital efficient that it was a very small group of ours that were, at the end there pushing forward 30 companies. So there was 50 companies in total at the end there, but obviously not all of them were at the stage to enter a market quite yet. But it was still a lot of organizations and, very little manpower to make them all
Mm.
be where they need to be.
Fair enough. So then that decreases the chances of any of them succeeding. That
That's
makes,
correct.
yeah. And I guess one of the things I know about the VC model is that it's basically just taking a whole lot of bets and then hoping that one of it sticks in a very layman way of putting it, if that makes sense. Is that fair?
Yeah, no, that's a fair characterization, and it is up to the fund manager to help them make good decisions. One thing that plays into my business model a little bit is a fund that we're looking to start once we see traction with some other pillars of the organization, and it's all coming together. It's all coming together.
There we go. So let's dive into Rev and a little bit further to today, what it looks
Let's do
like.
that.
To give the listeners more context, what does the business model look like? Help us understand that. Who would you say is your ideal customer, the ideal organization that you're after? And then talk to us a little bit about some of the services and offers that you provide.
Yeah, so when I describe this, it seems like a lot. But in my view, you need to do all of these things in order to make this model work. So RevAnd stands for We Develop Revenue and a Better World. We're based on impact, but we are not an impact organization, but we are definitely based on impact. And we want to work with organizations, other companies that are benefiting the world and the people that live within it.
Okay.
So the mission of RevAnd is to accelerate commercialization within entrepreneurial ecosystems and do that cost effectively, right? And so we do that in three ways. One of them is a venture studio where we exchange strategy and leadership and planning for sweat equity. The other one is an agency that's specifically built for startups to be cost effective and nimble. And the third piece is a commercialization community called Community Beta, which brings all the pieces together and allows entrepreneur service organizations, which are organizations that have accelerators, incubators, or different programs that allow to accelerate commercialization, the ability to run their programs within the application without needing to go outside and use a Zoom or a Notion or a Slack or anything else. And it also allows them to build engagement with their founders on a long-term basis rather than just coming on board, doing the accelerator, and leaving, right? And so we do these three things in order to enable more access to founders that may not have it, as well as bring more visibility to the resources that are in whatever state that you're in to the founders that might need it, right? And so we're driving all the different ecosystem members into those programs. We're gathering data and we are allowing them to communicate and collaborate together. And along the way, we're using the studio to either build our own organizations and drive them through it, or partner with others on a sweat equity basis and work with them.
Got it. Okay, so let's dive into each three of these a little bit further. The community, is that a software that people
It
sign up for?
is,
Got it.
correct. It's a mobile app and a web app.
Got it. And it sounds like the people that would sign up for this are other VC companies, or is it?
Yeah, so our customers are entrepreneur service organization managers,
Got it.
as well as the founders, the advisors, and the investors.
Got it. Entrepreneur service organizations managers.
Correct. So those are the organizations that have the accelerators, that have the incubators, that provide services to those founders,
I see.
and are having events.
Yes. Okay, that makes perfect sense. So that they can have better communication with those founders, also on a longer time scale, and get rid of all the different softwares that they would need that will just put everything from a data perspective in a very clunky, messy manner.
Correct. And let's not get it twisted. While we are competing with organizations that are providing those managers the ability to run those programs correctly, and we are not that. That is just one aspect of what we do. For the most part, we are a community that brings all of the different members of the ecosystem together for them all to communicate and collaborate, increase access and visibility for all of them, right?
Got it.
Because I think some of the problems here are that many of the members in this ecosystem don't have the community to rely on. They don't know the people, they don't know the resources, they have no clue where to go next. And a lot of times in the states that these ecosystems exist in, there are programs, but they're desperate and they all compete with each other. And so it's very hard to build one ecosystem that they're all within.
It's kind of synergistic to all of this stuff. It's not, it can aid those types of, I guess, organizations. And then the
Yeah.
agency for startups, is that full service marketing agency? What does that look like?
Yeah, so I call it an advisory and execution agency.
Okay.
And what that does is it works with the ESO managers as well as the founders, right, and the founding teams. So for
Okay.
the ESO managers, one of the issues that I found within my customer discovery is that many of these communities have a community of advisors that's around them. And they're making introductions and they're saying, founder one, I'm going to introduce you to this advisor. I'm going to introduce you to this advisor. I'm going to introduce you to this advisor, right? And then it's on that founder to ingest the information that's coming from those advisors, think about it critically, potentially tell the other one that's telling you something, this is what this guy said, and try to understand what is good, what's bad, what's
Mhm.
competing, and which way I should go. And that's a very hard thing to do, right? So, in my view, it's much better when the advisors are working together and they're communicating and allowing and moving forward as a team with those founders that they're working with. And so,
Got
that agency, one of the things that agency does is it manages the periphery of advisory that is around each of these communities to
it.
allow them to come together in industry specific teams,
Yeah,
and then those teams be pointed at groupings of founders that are also industry specific or synergistic, right?
got it.
And so now with our management, with our help, they're able to we onboard them into an application. They're able to share all the information. We use those AI note takers very liberally, right? And they're able to take that information, put it in, and allow others to then consume it, and then make decisions to change the advice that they're providing to those founders based on the advice that they've read that the others have provided. And
Okay.
to me, that is much better advice than somebody who just tells you something without understanding who else has really they've spoken with. The other thing
100%.
that agency does is it works with the founders in a more agency aspect, right? Where they do the websites, they do the outbound, they do the inbound, they do the, all these things that are part of those strategies that are part of their entrance into markets that maybe they don't have resources for. Maybe they're not the most adept at. So we bring in resources to help them do that. And we are not a regular agency, right? This agency is meant to be cost effective because most agencies, it's counterintuitive to work with a startup, right? As an agency, because as an agency, you're trying to work with someone that has lots of money that can pay for these things, that want to scale their business. They want to do all these things, right? And an agency wants to do the same thing. And so they add some overhead, they add people in the middle, middle managers, all these different things. But those things end up bogging down the agency and making it so that a single page WordPress site turns into $20,000, whereas it doesn't need to be. And that's just an example, but it happens all across the board for startups everywhere. And so we're going to change that.
I love that. And then lastly, the venture studio. Is that like your own arm where you're purchasing into these companies? What does that look like?
That, that's right. That's right. So we're getting sweat equity.
Got
So
it.
I have rebranded the term advisor into Maverick. And to me, advisor has become like this dirty word. And I believe it's because there's been this flood of fractional executives, right, hitting the market. And a ton of these managers it's much harder to find good advisors. It's much harder to find good people to mentor and provide this type of service to your founder. And so this advisor term has become a dirty word. So we've coined Mavericks for the advisory role, but these Mavericks are made up of current, former, and fractional executives. And I stress the current executive side because we're talking about strategics here, right? And when I say strategics, the Microsofts, the J&Js, these larger organizations that are looking to acquire companies and the technology that they are commercializing, right? And we look to come in, we bring our Mavericks with us, we help these organizations understand what their goals should be, when they're working with this technology, how they might exit, what kind of decisions they need to make up front, to create that company, or how you want to position yourself when you're getting investment, right? Because a lot of times this is where the mistakes are made. They're made in the beginning. And then when you get to that point at which you're looking to exit, they're like, wait, I wish you would have created your company in this way, or I wish you would have portrayed your organization in that way, or maybe I wish you would have taken yourself out of that sales process earlier, right? So that not all of your clients are looking at you for all the answers, right? And so there's all these things that they wish they would have done. We get involved early. We do it on a sweat equity basis, and we help them figure these things out.
Got it. When it comes to these three different aspects of Rev and, when you think over the next, let's say 12 to 24 months, which one is your main focus, or is it an even distribution?
Right now, my main focus is community beta.
Okay.
If I get community beta up and when I get community beta up and running with ESOs within it, it's going to be an unstoppable juggernaut. This is an application that allows that it's just so versatile. It is simplistic, and it allows everyone the space to do what they need to do and to communicate and collaborate with the people that they need to. Bring people in, say they have their own space, bring people into that space, work with them. You can create groupings of founders, you can create groupings of advisors, you can create groupings of ESO managers if you want. You could bring many communities together under one ecosystem within a whole state, which is what I'm looking to do in Maryland right now to start. And then I'll start rolling that out to other states. But my focus is community beta because that drives everything else.
Got it. When it comes to getting in front of these ESOs and bringing on more users to community beta, what is that process currently look? What's your plan of attack there?
Yes. One thing I didn't mention is I'm an entrepreneur in residence at BW Tech. And this is a research park out of University of Maryland, Baltimore County. This is a university in the southwest side of Baltimore in Catonsville. And I work with the startups and the growth oriented organizations at that research park. And very soon I'm going to become an EIR at another organization, which I can't talk about yet, but that's going to be happening in July. And I'm front and center in front of a ton of founders and founding teams, as well as working closely with those ESO managers and the funding organizations that make up the other entrepreneur service organizations in the state. And so I'm already in front of those people. I've already got a massive network of those organizations. So I'm just going to use my network and then expand it into other states as I go.
Got it. Powerful. Is it already launched or?
The application is up and running. I'm doing some finishing touches, like an onboarding process or a custom onboarding process and some integrations with some organizations that are going to provide some functionality that really will help us achieve success.
How can people, or where do people go to get access to this?
Yes, we're going to be in the Apple Store, and we're going to be in the Android store, in the Play Store. We're also online at communitybeta.com. I think it's communitybeta.io. I also have the .com. And very soon, you're going to be able to go there. Right now, we actually don't have a website at communitybeta.io, but we will very soon. The app is up at app.communitybeta.io. But if you go there, you're just going to see a splash page. And we're not actually taking any entrance right now. I'm going to hold some pilots in end of July, early August with some ESOs, and they'll be the first individuals to have access to the application. And I'm looking at Georgetown, UMBC, Maryland, the ecosystem here.
Nice, nice. I'm super curious when you think of Rev and where it's at right now and where you want to take it. With all of these things you've got going on, what do you feel like is the biggest challenge you're facing right now?
It's time. It's always time. And that's across the board for everyone. And if they don't say time, I think they're lying. But it really is, for me, I have important family obligations in my mind. So I've only got so much time to do the things that I need to do. and I try to use it wisely, but sometimes it just doesn't work out. But if I could have one thing, it would be more time.
Yeah. I guess if you had unlimited resources, time obviously being a limited factor, but like financially to allocate towards growing these three different ventures, where do you think you'd place those resources first?
Oh, yeah, I'd place them in development first to make sure that all of these things get done. And then I would place them into sales and marketing because I think that's, for me, I came up in sales and marketing, so that's my bread and butter. And granted, I think that's the most important, right? I think anybody in their field thinks that's the most important. But I do think that that determines whether a company stays around or not.
From your experience working with startups, if you could talk to new entrepreneurs that are listening to this, that are starting in 2025, they're looking to get their businesses off the ground, and but there's all this noise online, right? It's hard to figure out what do I do? What are some words of wisdom that you could give them based off of your experience thus far?
Talk to your clients. Talk to your clients. Like whether or not you're selling now or not, you have an idea of who you're selling to. Find those people and talk to them. There's too many times that people stumble into something that's lucrative and they never actually talk to their clients. And when something changes, and now they're like, oh, they're not just coming to me, or oh, I don't have all these referrals, or oh man, I have to go out and actually find new clients. They can't do it because they've never actually learned why they're coming to purchase the products or services that they're purchasing. And I've seen it so many times. Talk to your clients and just keep moving forward. There's every day is something new as an entrepreneur, right? I'm sure you understand. Every day is something new. You're on the top of the world, or you think you're nothing, right? You think
Mhm.
nothing's going to work. It's never going to happen. Just stay the course, right? Just stay the course. And if you need to change, you need to iterate some way, do it. It's the people that stay the course. It's the people that make the 100 different types of light bulbs where the one works, right?
Yeah,
So that's
I
the
love it.
advice I'd give.
For the people that want to work with you, what is the best way for them to reach out?
Send me an email, get in touch with me on LinkedIn. LinkedIn's probably better, but don't come at me with some automated or templated approach. Ain't gonna work. Come at me as a real person.
I love that. Any final words before we wrap up?
I'm just super excited to get all this technology out there. I love this stuff. Yeah, one of the things that I always tell people when I was growing up, the best time when I was in school, the best time was the first day of school
Hmm.
because I was so excited to meet everyone new. And that's like so type A of me, right? Like so salesperson-y of me. But that was the most exciting time for me is when you meet all the new people that you're going to hang out with for the whole year. And that's why I love conferences. That's why I love going to new places and meeting people. So I'm just super excited to be able to share all these things with everyone and see these interesting new ideas flourish.
Awesome. Chris, thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah, Mar, I appreciate it, man.
Anytime. So that wraps up another insightful episode of Founders Future. To our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to go to revand.io, reach out to Chris on LinkedIn. We'll have it tagged somewhere around here. And if you are a business owner, specifically coach, consultant, or an agency, and you're looking to scale your business and really enhance your sales and marketing efforts, visit closers.io to discover how we can support your growth journey. Until then, keep on climbing.